Hello and welcome to another episode. I believe it's episode 16, if I'm calculating correct, of Pitchfork Radio. I am Shelley Johnson, and once again we have with us a great guy who represents doing, taking action to address what he has seen to be a major challenge for people in this toxic world where nothing should be what it appears to be. Tom Paladino has been making major strides in the realm of health and healing. You may ask why I've been focusing on health lately in several of these episodes. Let's face it, we cannot accomplish what must be done to repair and restore this world to some semblance of sanity without our health. That is foundational to our freedom. Tom Paladino's research and work with the Scalar Energy began during his undergraduate years. He was inspired by various scientists such as Hieronymus, Morey, Priori, and especially Nikola Tesla, as to the existence of an energy that is not of the electromagnetic spectrum. With this inspiration, he pursued a course of independent study in order to better understand and subsequently harness scalar energy. Scalar energy has also been known as prana, chi or ki, radiant energy, zero-point energy, orgone, and eloptic. After several years of experimentation and modification, Tom Paladino has developed a technique using scalar energy that will transmute pathogens quickly and painlessly. This technique facilitates the use of photographs of people who desire to have their pathogens transmuted in their bodies. Welcome, Tom, and it's a great treat to have you with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Shelley. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm very excited. So before we really get into your research, could you discuss a little bit about your mentors, their philosophy, and what drew them all together in this loop for you?
Sure. I would say the first individual that really had an understanding of scalar energy was Nikola Tesla. As a child, I started to study Nikola Tesla, and I became enthralled with what Tesla had achieved. And to this day, his work with scalar energy is still not fully recognized. He hasn't been given his due, if you will. I believe he was the greatest electrical engineer that the world has ever known. And also, he introduced scalar energy to the world. A lot of people don't realize that. I do. So Nikola Tesla was by far the genius that really inspired me as a youngster. And later in life, I was inspired by a man by the name of Galen, Hieronymus, and subsequently by other scalar energy experts, Thomas Morey and Nikolai Kozyrev. I would say those four men served as really my foundation to understanding scalar energy, and upon their shoulders, I am standing today. Without those four men, I certainly would not have achieved what I've achieved thus far.
Fantastic. So you have made some pretty bold statements about the use of the scalar energy, and one of them is that scalar energy will negate the molecular bonds of any pathogen, thereby causing that infectious agent to cease to exist. Scalar energy is the cure for all pathogenic infections.
I realize that's a rather bold statement, but I'll stand by it. And the reason I can make that statement is scalar energy holds together matter. The molecular bonds that hold together anything, including a virus or a bacterium, those bonds, those covalent bonds, those ionic bonds, they are held together by scalar instructions. So if I take those chemical bonds and I negate that energy with scalar energy, if I negate those molecular bonds, a germ, a pathogen falls apart. Hence, if I can negate the molecular bonds of a virus, a bacterium, or a fungus, then I can cure viral, bacterial, fungal disease. What I'm literally doing is I'm taking a pathogen, a germ, and I'm breaking it apart, so to speak. I'm disassembling it. It's known as transmutation. So hence, I take an infectious agent, a living organism, and I break it down into smaller, harmless components, such as elements or proteins. Okay. I'm on record by saying this process that I have developed is a painless way of addressing pathogenic infection. It works, it is repeatable, and it indeed allows me to have fundamental control over infectious agents, over germs. it will be recognized, and hopefully soon, as the cure for pathogenic infection.
That's fantastic. And you've also developed another technique that enables people to participate in this process remotely. Can you explain that?
That's correct. When we work with scalar energy is everywhere in the universe. And scalar energy represents a hologram or a matrix. That is, scalar energy can be accessed anywhere in the universe. And in so doing, this force field, this type of dimension, allows you to transcend space and time. So with that statement, anytime I want to work with anybody in the world, I simply need their photograph in order to access them.
Okay, can you explain the relationship between the energy and the photograph? Why is a photograph representational?
A photograph represents a person's light signature, their light code, so to speak. So if I have a photograph of a person in my laboratory, within my scalar energy dimension, I literally can access that person with my energy remotely. And the way that works is scalar energy is an information system, and it affords instantaneous communication. So when I place a photograph of a person inside my scalar energy instrument, that affords immediately an instantaneous connection or communication. Again, it transcends time and space. So literally, I can treat people around the world from my laboratory by way of their photograph.
Is there not a shamanic or other indigenous culture relationship with what they believe to be true about their photographs?
Yeah, that's very well stated. There are civilizations that have always thought that if you took their photograph, that you were capturing their essence, or in some way you were capturing their personality. And they were right, that's true. Anytime I take a photograph of a person, I am capturing on film, so to speak, their essence, their light signature, their light code. So in so doing, by photographing a person, I can access that person. I literally can broadcast scalar energy to that person by virtue of the fact that I have their photograph.
That's fantastic. And I know you've been working with scores of people who have submitted their photographs just lately because of your special offer, which we will get back to in just a few minutes. Want to keep the audience teased here just a little bit. So you referred to this process as a pathogenic cleanse, and it addresses anything pathogenic. So we're talking about virus, fungus, bacterial, and parasitic. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Let me give our audience an understanding of scalar energy, and we'll start with a simple demonstration. This is a scalar energy instrument, and you could see two Tesla coils, a receiver and a transmitter. Now, these two coils are now broadcasting scalar energy. So within the vicinity of those two coils, within, say, a radius of about 4 or 5 feet, is a scalar energy dimension. It's different. This dimension is a scalar energy dimension. It's not of the electromagnetic dimension. And here's an indication. I hold in my hand a fluorescent tube, a light bulb. And when I take this light bulb and I place it in a scalar energy environment, it will illuminate. Now, this is indicative of a scalar energy environment. This is radiant energy. This is the free energy of the universe. Scalar energy is produced by the sun of our solar system and the stars. And you can see that simply by holding this light bulb in a scalar energy force field, it illuminates.
That is amazing.
Here's another indication. Here's another fluorescent light bulb. You can see that this is still in its factory plastic packaging. Mm-hmm. When I take this fluorescent tube and place it in the force field, once again the light illuminates. We've created a local scalar energy environment. And the key is this. Once you enter into that dimension, it's different. It's not like that of electricity. It's a different dimension. And in that dimension of scalar energy, you can do things that you cannot do typically in an electromagnetic dimension. There's one more example. I'm holding in my hand tubes. This is a 48-inch long fluorescent tube. And once again, when I introduce this tube into the scalar energy environment, it illuminates. So what have we demonstrated? This is, again, a local scalar energy force field. Energy is ambient. My entire laboratory is filled now with this energy. Those are just some examples of what we can do to scalar energy. So now let's move on to the process that I've perfected with this particular instrument. Before I do so, I want to say scalar energy is very versatile. I am only going to demonstrate today one application of scalar energy. There are many. In particular, I want to demonstrate how simple this is to take a germ, a pathogen, and simply break it apart. Let's start with this example. I have a photograph of myself. In order to treat myself with scalar energy, I would take a photograph and place it in this instrument. Now, in so doing, my photograph represents me, and I am receiving energy, scalar energy. Again, that photograph of me is all that is needed to send broadcast energy to me. Now, whether I was here locally or 1,000 miles away, the fact that my photograph is inside this scalar energy dimension allows that instantaneous communication. Once again, to demonstrate, we are in a force field of scalar energy. So if you could see the energy going into this light bulb, that's the same intensity, that's the same amount of energy that I am receiving as a person. So this is an incredible amount of energy. If I am able to illuminate this light bulb with scalar energy, again, that amount of energy is going into my body, into my physical body. So this is, again, the communication that we have, an instantaneous communication system. Now, moving forward, if I wanted to destroy the herpes virus, this is a magnified photograph of herpes simplex. I simply take this photograph of the herpes virus and I place it inside the scalar energy dimension next to my photograph. Now, this is an instantaneous sharing of information. Information is shared, information is connected. Once again, this scalar energy environment is a perfect communication environment. The energy from the herpes virus is interpreted by this instrument. And the energy of the herpes virus is sent into my body, broadcast into my body. And the instruction is very simple. I am working with a reverse polarity, so I am instructing the herpes virus to break apart.
Okay.
Taking the chemical bonds, the molecular bonds that hold together the herpes virus, and in so doing, I am releasing those chemical bonds, those molecular bonds, and the herpes virus falls apart. This instrument acts in a reverse phase capacity. Hence, any pathogen that I introduce into this instrument would serve to break down, to negate those molecular bonds, as such that that germ, in this case, the herpes virus, would fall apart. It would disassemble. This is the simple and straightforward method to cure pathogenic infection.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I imagine that the people whose photographs you have received have not indicated to you what they're suffering from. So how does the machine identify the specific pathogen and go after it?
That's correct. I myself do not try to subjectively diagnose a person's ailment or what type of pathogen they're infected with. To the contrary, my instrument will be able to pick up and to understand what pathogen is in the body, and in so doing, by way of the reverse phase capacity, this instrument, scalar energy, will interpret what germ is in the body and then accordingly release those molecular bonds.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, it's not a process that I have to undertake. It's not relative to my subjective diagnosis. To the contrary, scalar energy automatically can look for the herpes virus, and if you have it, it can send the reverse phase angle into your body to release those molecular bonds. So in principle and in practice, I take photographs of germs. I have over 400,000 magnified photographs of pathogens, and I scan them in this instrument. And whatever number of pathogens you have in your body, this instrument, Scalar Energy, will automatically seek out those germs and unbind them. So, as an example, let's say you have 30 different species of pathogens in your body.
Okay.
I treat you for over 400,000 species of pathogens. Scalar Energy will be able to target and interpret those 30 pathogens that you have in your body, will release the molecular bonds of those 30 pathogens that you have in your body. My approach is a universal approach or an umbrella approach. I treat for over 400,000 species of germs. And whatever combination of germs, pathogens you have in your body, Scalar Energy will decode, and subsequently, Scalar Energy will release those molecular bonds of whatever pathogens are present in your body.
You know, this is really exciting if you look at it on a macro level, because even natural practitioners such as myself have had limited success with certain strains of certain viruses, etc. For instance, one now that has come to light that is extremely prevalent that probably most people weren't aware of is the connection of the Epstein-Barr virus to so many of the chronic degenerative disease processes that are upon Earth right now. And my recent understanding is that there are over 60 strains of that particular virus. And our medical technology is not even able to detect that except via the footprint in blood work, which simply shows antibodies have been created.
That's a great point. So I do have to address strains of a pathogen. Why? Because I am looking.
Tom, take a breath just a minute. Let's see if we can figure out why I can't hear you, because I've got the volume up on my end and you're kind of fading out. I don't know whether your source for picking that up has moved or if we've got a glitch, but this is so important. I don't want the audience to miss it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to address once again strain of a particular pathogen. Many times a pathogen can adapt and in many ways become drug resistant. And I understand that. That's a common phenomenon. Well, the way I circumvent that is with scalar energy. Scalar energy, once again, works at the molecular level and releases the molecular bond that holds together a pathogen. Now, with that said, regardless of what type of adaptation the germ, the pathogen might experience and undergo, I work at the fundamental level, and nothing supersedes energy. Hence, I'm working with the molecular and atomic code that holds together pathogens, and I'm able to release those molecular bonds, those atomic bonds. So the point being, regardless of how a pathogen becomes resistant to some type of antibiotic, that doesn't matter. Scalar energy, once again, working at the fundamental level, will break apart, will transmute a germ. And once again, I go on record by saying, regardless of what type of camouflaging or what type of defense mechanism the pathogen might undergo, it doesn't matter. Scalar energy works at the fundamental level, will reduce a pathogen into smaller, harmless physical forms. As such, what I am demonstrating will go down, will soon be recognized as the cure for pathogenic infection. This is going to be a great benefit to mankind.
Absolutely, and I know you've got a vast number of people that have been reached already by your most recent free offer campaign, so why don't you tell us about that? Hang on, everybody. We're trying to fix our little technical difficulties here. Okay, so Tom, after our little glitch here, I'd like you to help people understand why you can treat hundreds, thousands, millions of people at the same time.
The instruments, Scalar Energy instruments, can easily accommodate 2 to 3 million photographs at a time. I hold in my hand a collage. You can see on one piece of paper, you can easily have 100 people on one piece of paper. I'll flip it around. Here's another collage. Here's a collage in which the photographs are miniaturized. There's at least 1,000 people on that collage. So imagine if you had a collage like this, and every day you would submit to me a collage, or maybe 1,000 collages as such. Well, 1,000 people per collage multiplied by 1,000 is 1,000,000 people. And this instrument can easily accommodate 1,000,000 people, 2,000,000 people, 3,000,000 people. So what I'm saying is, I can easily, with miniaturizing the photographs, I can easily assume 3 or 4 million people in this instrument at one particular point in time. And then, in practice, I would take a photograph of a germ, say Staphylococcus aureus, common bacterium, and place this photograph of Staph aureus in the instrument next to the collage. And in so doing, the 1,000 people on this collage are being treated for Staphylococcus aureus. And in an instant, we are instructing Staphylococcus aureus to release its bonds, to negate its molecular bonds. And everybody in this collage would be cured of Staphylococcus aureus in an instant. So you can see how there's economy to scale here. This is a world-scale project. What I need people to do is to start working with me and provide me photographs. I have the knowledge, I have the instrumentation. What I need from people, I need them to get on board and to start participating. Send me 1,000,000 photographs a day. And with this process, with God's help, I will cure 1,000,000 people a day. It's rather straightforward. It's painless, and you do not have to come to my laboratory. Again, you could go about your normal day, everyday affairs. I simply need a photograph of you in order to unbind, in order to disassemble germs in your body.
Now, when you do this, you don't just treat this group of people for 1 minute or for 1 day. You're actually repeating the process over and over. And that is for what purpose?
Many people, their immune system is compromised. So I don't treat people simply for 1 day. On my website, I offer 30-day treatments. And the reason that I do that is, there's a number of reasons, but as far as the pathogenic cleansing, so many people are compromised.
Right.
And many people who are susceptible to germs, even though I might disassemble and eradicate a germ today, in a week or so they could enter into a crowded school or factory or into a grocery store and easily pick up a germ or become reinfected somehow. The world is filled with germs. So My month-long program is, I believe, a prudent way of going about not only eradicating germs on day one, but keeping people healthy throughout the course of a month so that the immune system has time to reboot, the immune system has time to once again catch up and to be able to repair the damage that's been done.
Great, that makes terrific sense. You mentioned your website. I have been there. I'm very impressed. It is www.selfhealgo.com. If you go there, you will pretty much see what we've already been talking about, but you will also see a number of testimonials, lab tests, pictures, etc., which I was pretty flabbergasted about. And I'd like to discuss, if you don't mind, well, first of all, let's give people what your offer is right now, and then we will come back to some of these testimonials.
So I want to introduce you to the process. So we are offering free treatments.
Losing your audio, Tom.
Is that any better?
There you go. We've got a little bit of oscillation in the background. It's probably NSA being a little aggravated about this interview.
I won't be. Okay. So what we have is a 15-day program. Free scalar energy treatments for 15 days. We ask you to visit the website creativestrength.us. This is it sounds, creative strength, CREATIVE, strength, STRENGTH, .US. Visit that website. We ask you to upload your photograph and provide your email address, and we will treat you for free. No obligation whatsoever. We'll treat you for free. And the reason we're doing this, we want you to experience scalar energy. My grand design is to be able to provide health care to the world. And I would like it to be eventually free health care to all of mankind. Well, this is my initial attempt to provide free health to the world. Again, visit creativestrength.us. You can sign up for a free treatment, and then I ask you to share that link with your friends and family. I want them to be able to sign up for free treatments. And this is our way, this is what Shelley and I consider a good way to introduce this to mankind.
So having said that, I just want to clarify that this 15-day free trial is not for the specific 15-day window that you might sign up for, but you are having it progress throughout at least this entire year, from what I understand.
That's a good point. I want to reiterate that. We want to continue on with this program for free treatment. So as long as I can afford it and we can keep the doors open, so to speak, we will continue to treat the world for free. And I want to extend that offer until the end of 2016. Now, if things are in our favor and the world begins to pick up on this and start to work with us, yes, we'll continue that on into next year, 2017. So imagine, this is a simple process that's painless. You can stay in your home. You can simply upload your photograph, send it to me. I will treat you for over 400,000 species of germs. You will be cured of viral, bacterial, fungal, protozoan infection. Your health will improve. Now, secondly, I want to also mention many of the viruses that I am disassembling, eradicating, have been proven to be the causative agent of some cancers, such as the human papillomavirus. I can easily break apart the human papillomavirus. And that really translates to being able to prevent cervical cancer. The number one cause of cervical cancer is the human papillomavirus. So I can help you immediately by eradicating these pathogens in your body. And in some measure, this is prophylactic, because if I can destroy the viruses that have been shown to cause cancer, in many cases I'll be able to prevent cancer sometime further in your life in the future. So again, this should resonate with everybody. This should essentially once again catch on as universal health care. And that really is the gist of our conversation today. That's what we're trying to put forward.
And this is the real deal universal health care, not the nonsense promoted by Obamacare and other socialized medicine approaches.
I would say that Obamacare has ulterior motives. It's not pure intent. And that's a shame. There's a lot of subterfuge involved with Obamacare. My intent is very simple: to honor, glorify God, and to help people. And that's why I'm offering this program free of charge. I want the world to participate. The world must participate. Obviously, Shelley and I cannot do this ourselves, single-handedly. So by all means, visit the website and share it with your friends. www.creativestrength.us. We want that to permeate the globe. Share it with everybody. Get everybody to sign up, and they will be cured once again of viral, bacterial, fungal, and protozoan infection.
Now, you've repeatedly said painlessly break apart the molecular bonds. So in the business I'm in, oftentimes we look for what we call a Herxheimer reaction. And if you'd like to expand upon that, you probably have the capacity to do it better than I could.
Sure. Well put. There is a Herxheimer reaction, meaning sometimes when you administer a pharmaceutical product against a bacterium, a spirochete, you have some type of reaction. It's known as a Herxheimer reaction. Well, I simply avoid that for two reasons. First and foremost, I don't work with chemicals, drugs. I work with light. And secondly, when I break apart the molecular bond, I not only break apart the molecular bond of a pathogen, but also the toxin inside. So let's say we isolate a bacterium. I not only can break apart the molecular bonds of the bacterium, hence the bacterium ceases to exist. It's no longer a living organism. I've reduced it into smaller, harmless physical forms. But I also break apart the endotoxins inside. So you cannot be harmed by these endotoxins because they likewise cease to exist. Remember, I'm working at the quantum level.
Right.
And I take a pathogen and its associated toxin, and I reduce them into smaller, harmless physical forms. Both the pathogen and the toxin cease to exist. As such, what does not exist does not pose a threat to your health. The pathogen and the toxin cease to exist, hence you cannot be harmed.
Fantastic. That's very good to know. So what I'd like to do, if you don't mind now, is show a couple of photographs that people will be able to see if they go on the website, and probably a little bit clearer than what they're going to see here. But this one kind of blew my mind. This is a parasite that was released by this particular individual during a pathogen cleanse, and apparently this client called it her pet worm. So let's see if we can get a decent view of that. Hopefully people can see that. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. One of my clients was kind enough to send us a photograph of a worm that was excreted during a bowel movement. And my client was, at that time, under my care, under the Scalar Energy pathogenic lens. And this happens with so many people. When I disassemble, when I destroy these pathogens, in this case, this worm, people will have a cathartic bowel movement. As such, many times people will tell me that in their bowel movement, they can literally see the remnants of a worm that we've destroyed with the Scalar Energy instrument, or some type of purging, whether it's a bacterial purging or a fungal purging. It's a sign that we indeed am able to eradicate germs by once again releasing their molecular bonds. And that's not typical. Most people don't have that purging to that extent, but this person indeed was kind enough to share that. It's evidence, once again, that we have fundamental control over physical matter. That's the key element here. Scalar energy allows me to have mastery over physical form. In particular, I've developed this instrument to allow me to have mastery over microorganisms. So once again, if I can break apart, release those molecular bonds on a molecular state, in reference to those microorganisms, they no longer exist. This is going to once again be considered and once, hopefully soon, embraced as a cure for pathogenic infection.
Okay, so I'm going to show another picture of this individual's bacterial infection in conjunction with the psoriasis factor, which psoriasis is an autoimmune dysfunction. So within the context of those two joining hands, this poor individual was in a bad way. And you will see this on the website as well, which is the selfhealgo.com. But I want to hope that people can see this well enough to recognize the power of what you're offering here. Do you want to share a little bit about this story?
If we look at the top of the row of photographs, July of 2013, this individual had a bacterial infection. It was MRSA. It was diagnosed as MRSA in conjunction with psoriasis. And if you look closely, you can see that the feet, the legs, the hand. This individual, this woman, had a very acute, if you will, bacterial infection. And she lives in Norway, by the way. I live in Florida. She submitted to me her photograph. And after I treated her for a couple of months, she reported back to me, and she said, everything has gone. The bacterial infection is gone. To this day, she no longer has this problem whatsoever. Her MRSA was cured. So if we look at the bottom row, November 2013, we could see the difference. We could see her hands, her feet, her leg. It's completely cured. No sign of scarring, no sign of disfigurement, no bacterial infection whatsoever. Even the psoriasis is gone. So that's an indication of what Scalar Energy can do. Again, consider the fact that she submitted her photograph to me. She lives in Norway. I live in Florida. And I broadcast energy to her. And once again, regardless of the distance, this instrument is always in real time. And this instrument, this Scalar Energy instrument, transcends time and space. As such, I was able to cure this woman of bacterial infection.
And you know, it's not an easy fix when you get MRSA because of the very fact that the R in that acronym means resistant. So it's methyl-resistant staph infection that is very, very hard to treat. And if you do get treated for it, you pretty much destroy your gut because the antibiotics used are just vicious against the digestive process.
Right. And that's the beauty, again, what I'm doing. I never work with chemicals, with drugs. Everything that I work with is light. Scalar energy is sunlight or starlight. Sunlight and starlight is perfect light, perfect energy. Not only do we realize that scalar energy is now really the fundament of the universe, but life is dependent upon this sunlight, this starlight. Once we really develop a firm understanding of scalar energy, we will recognize it as the predominant energy of the universe. The electromagnetic spectrum is really a derivative, really a pure derivative of scalar energy. That is to say, the sun of our solar system and the stars initially produce scalar energy. Scalar energy is the initial energy of the universe. And sadly, in many environments, scalar energy will degrade into electricity and magnetism. Well, if I had my brothers, the entire universe would be scalar energy and nothing but scalar energy. I am not a fan of electromagnetic energy. To the contrary, I think electromagnetic energy is the beginning of entropy and subsequently disease and death.
Makes total sense. So we have a little bit more real interesting stuff here. Let's talk about your client who had the serious herpes issue, because I have printed out some test results here. That the first test shows that there's definitely a high count of the herpes simplex virus type 1 and type 2. So I'm going to go ahead and show that just to set the foundation here, if people can see it. And they will be able to go ahead on the website, I believe, and see this also, if I'm not mistaken. But you can see where I have circled in the pink evidence of this pathogen being outside normal limits and in the high zone. So this is just to kind of set the stage for what comes after that. So would you like to talk about this just a little bit?
Sure. Another client that registered for my services approached me. This person had herpes infection. The person had herpes for a good 20-some years. And this was clinically diagnosed, as Shelley is demonstrating. This is a antibody test that shows the presence of herpes simplex 1 and 2. So the stage is set now. Have an individual that has been clinically diagnosed with herpes.
Right.
I then treated this individual for scalar energy to eradicate herpes by way of this instrument. And again, all I need is a photograph of a person. This person submitted their photograph to me. And after I treated this person, the symptoms abated to the point that this individual now has no more symptoms whatsoever of the herpes infection. And then to follow up and to prove that the herpes virus had been disassembled, eradicated, this individual had 2 subsequent diagnostic tests performed. One during the month of May.
That's the one I'm showing right now.
Right. And this is a PCR test that shows no detectable viral load of the herpes virus. So this is clinical proof that after I treated this individual with scalar energy, there is no sign of the herpes virus at all. And most importantly, this individual, once again, has no symptoms whatsoever. Scalar energy, this process served to once again unbind, to negate those molecular bonds of the herpes virus. Once you break down those molecular bonds of the herpes virus, it ceases to exist. This is the cure for herpes.
And here is, just to show that her immune system response was improved by this process, here is another negative response test to the herpes virus from that following December.
Shelley's holding another PCR test conducted later during that year, conducted during the month of December 2015, and the result is, once again, not detected. There's no detectable viral load. The herpes virus has been destroyed. It no longer exists. So we have 2 back-to-back polymerase chain reaction tests. These tests look for some type of genetic material left in the body. These 2 back-to-back PCR tests prove that scalar energy has broken apart, disassembled, eradicated the herpes virus. Once again, reiterate, this is a cure for herpes infection. Well, if we can break apart the herpes virus, we can also break apart the HIV virus. We can break apart the hepatitis virus. We can break apart the Zika virus. What I am demonstrating, once again, is the simple, painless way to release the molecular bonds of a germ, in this case, once again, the herpes virus, to eradicate that virus from the human body. And now this individual is free, cured of herpes.
And once again, we're talking about cures, not treatment, not management, not suppression. We're talking about no evidence, either subjectively or objectively, of any remnants of those pathogens.
I've always predicated my research upon being able to make a meaningful, impactful change in somebody's life. I am result-driven. And the results that I want to see when I'm working with pathogens are the transmutation of a germ, of a pathogen. So in so doing, I have to address the pathogen at its molecular level, once again.
Right.
So what I am offering to the world is not a treatment for pathogenic infection, it's a cure. And again, as a result-driven researcher, the only thing that I'm happy with is complete success. That is, means to eradicate a pathogen from the human body. I've discovered that. I've advanced upon what I understand of this process. I've perfected it. Now I'm ready to present it to the world. And there's no reason why in the near future that we should not start treating 3 million people a day, 5 million people a day.
Right.
But if I had the proper staff and funding, we could easily treat 10 million people a day and cure 10 million people a day. So, if this is the first time that you've heard of Scalar Energy, I understand. I promise you it will not be the last time. This is about to make its grand entrance in the world. We will see a significant upwelling of approval and eventually participation of people around the world. And once we have that crystallized movement behind us, we'll make a great deal of progress. And my prediction is the day is coming rather soon, whereby we will be treating 10 million people a day and curing 10 million people a day with Scalar Energy. Curing 10 million people a day of pathogenic infection. That is, curing 10 million people a day of viral, bacterial, fungal, and protozoan diseases. Mark my word, that day is coming.
Well, you're making a gigantic leap into that day right now, because we've got a lot of people that are participating, and I'm a participating member. I will just say I don't know when my 15 days is up, but so far so good. I've got another dear friend who actually connected me with you, who has just gone gangbusters in collecting pictures of, you know, people that really need help. But the other part that I love is that she's collected pictures of the people that we perceive to be the perpetrators against mankind. And if those people are ill, which might be participating in their behavior, then who knows? You know, we might have a backdoor approach to kind of getting the power that they have by virtue of eliminating the cause.
This is for everybody. That's a good point. I'm not going to distinguish any one group that I want to treat with. This project will be called Heal the World, and for good reason. We want to heal the world, and we want to open this up to everybody. This will eventually be recognized as universal health care, effective universal health care. It's relatively inexpensive, and it literally just depends upon the participation of people around the world. It's not difficult to take a photograph of a person, and I've developed a computer software whereby I can assume 2 million photographs a day. I have a computerized system. So we're ready to go. Please share that link, www.createstrength.us. Share that with your friends and family members. Get everybody you know to sign up. Again, it's free healthcare. We want to make a change in the world. We want to be outside of that paradigm where money and politics rules everything. That's not important to me. What's important are people. I'm not really concerned about money. That's not important. I'm concerned about people, and I'm going to avoid the politics, because politics is not really an intelligent way of going about my affairs as a scientist.
No, absolutely not. I guess the reason I brought that up is because those of us who have been identifying the fraud and corruption in the system, we often call these order followers or these minions, we call them parasites. And for that reason, I mean, I think it's a pretty good definition. They provide nothing anybody would willingly pay for, and they suck the living energy out of the people they're perpetrating against. So I would like to think that maybe they're infected with brain parasites, and, you know, who knows?
I'll speak to that point. There is a cabal. Some people know them as the Illuminati. They have splinter groups, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg, the Club of Rome. These are nefarious people, and they do evil, and they need conversion. We need to pray for their conversion. Well, this process that I'm explaining, that I'm demonstrating, is a new approach. No longer are we going to be beholden to antiquated ways of addressing pathogenic infection. We're certainly not going to allow the government to dictate to us how to take care of ourselves. We're not going to allow the government to force upon us health care. Everybody should have their free will.
Right.
Now, by all means, with this process, I don't force people to take this. There's of your volition. I mean, no way do I want to enforce this upon anybody. Hence, I have a public website. And you decide whether you want to participate or not.
Absolutely. And what the bottom line is for all of us that are suffering at the hands of this cabal, for want of a better word, we want our freedom. And in order to experience freedom, we have to be healthy. That is part of the freedom scenario, if you want to call it that, because without the freedom, we can't really enjoy anything else. My phone is just having a life of its own over here. It decided to just randomly broadcast something to me. So,
if we start treating, say, 1 million people a day, consider what an impact this would have now upon saving us money. Healthcare is frightfully expensive. The United States of America spends $3 trillion annually on healthcare. I'm going to repeat that. The United States spends $3 trillion a year on healthcare. That's astronomical. Now consider this. If I can treat 1 million people a day, I am sure I can save each individual over the course of a year at least $500 in healthcare costs, combined with being able to provide that person with the health to be robust so that they do not miss work or school, etc. So I factor at least that if I can eradicate pathogens from somebody's body, that I can see at least, on average, a savings of $500 per person.
That's fantastic.
Now, yes, it is. Now consider if I can save $500 per person in healthcare costs as well as in lost work. Some people who are sick, they lose productivity because they can't go to work. They have sick days. Well, just factor in the fact that if I can treat 1 million people a day, and I could save at least an average of $500 per person, that's a savings every day of $500 million.
Beautiful. The other thing that's beautiful about this is related to Big Pharma, because the American Medical Association, Big Brother, Big Pharma, FDA, CDC, all bed buddies as far as I'm concerned in the perpetration of harm against the people. I would love to see this process not only benefit the people, but take a lot of steam out of that death care system, because I refuse to call it health care.
Well, to answer that, the Lord has made it very clear to me, and there are many changes coming. And with Scalar Energy, we will see the collapse of many monopolies. Scalar Energy is a new technology. This new technology will make obsolete many of the existing technologies, and hence many of the corporations and many of the technologies that undergird these corporations will meet with Scalar Energy initially with skepticism and then with utter outrage on account of the fact that they realize that this new technology is quite superior to what we're working with today. And what the Lord has made very clear to me, what Jesus has made very clear to me, Scalar Energy will make its grand appearance on the world stage, and it will change the landscape of the corporations of the world, not only corporate America, but the corporations around the world. This technology is superior to what we're using today. And Scalar Energy makes obsolete many of the technologies that are in use today. Hence, we're going to see a change, a significant change in the near-term future.
That's so excellently put, and I would like to say that I cannot wait to see the dark ages of the current system, disintegrate, take a hike, go back to source, do whatever they have to do to stop harming mankind. That would be fantastic.
The day is coming very soon. Nikola Tesla saw a different world. Nikola Tesla saw a world with Scalar Energy. And had Tesla succeeded, we would have advanced. Society would have been enjoying a much more pleasant lifestyle.
Of course.
Scalar Energy will change everybody's lifestyle for the better. Please embrace this and help me. Help me get this energy out there. Help me introduce this to the world. I'm doing this for your benefit. If the world were to embrace scalar energy, everybody's lifestyle would increase immeasurably. My prediction is this. Scalar energy is a tool, and it can be used as our servant. If the world were to embrace scalar energy and then put into place scalar energy devices, we would no longer have to work 40 hours a week. I doubt if anybody would have to work more than 10 or 12 hours a week. In other words, scalar energy will do the work for us. We will no longer have to labor as we are doing now. Scalar energy is that game changer. That's my prediction. Eventually, mankind will never have to work more than 10 or 12 hours a week.
And I would venture to say that along the same path as scalar energy, there are other shifts that are on the verge of erupting as well, because the time is now. The time is right now. When Mr. Tesla was alive, we didn't have the benefits of the internet to make something like this go viral. He didn't have the opportunity to reach enough people to not be shut down by the system that was so threatened by him.
Yes, that's correct. I actually received a message from the Blessed Virgin Mary, and she told me that demonic forces stood in the way of Nikola Tesla. And I can understand that. People like the Rothschilds and J.P. Morgan, they undermine Nikola Tesla. Well, I've been promised by both Jesus and Mary that they will see this through now, and that we will introduce scalar energy to the world. It's a divine energy. And this time we will succeed.
Beautiful.
We will succeed.
When people go to your website, selfhealgo.com, they will also see some other options besides the pathogen cleanse. And just real briefly, if you wouldn't mind mentioning those, I'd like people to realize that this is beneficial for other potential uses in terms of your health.
Another protocol that I offer is what is known as the nutrient program. Scalar energy allows me to actually assemble nutrients. For instance, I hold in my hand a magnified photograph of vitamin B12. And I would literally take this photograph showing the crystalline structure of riboflavin, place it in my instrument, and my instrument could actually assemble riboflavin in the body. So, a reverse phase capacity of scalar energy breaks apart a pathogen or germ, and the in-phase capacity assembles vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and amino acids. Again, scalar energy allows us to have control over physical matter. So, in synopsis, I can break apart over 400,000 species of germs, or I can assemble over 300 nutrients in the body. All of this serves to improve human health. Again, these are some of the applications that I've developed with scalar energy. There are thousands of applications that we can develop with scalar energy. Once again, I demonstrated early in my talk how I could hold a light bulb to the scalar energy instrument and illuminate a light bulb. My prediction is scalar energy will someday replace nuclear power, electricity, and natural gas. The day is coming that the world will be powered by scalar energy. And at pennies on the dollar. Scalar energy is free energy. An application is relatively inexpensive to apply it. And in so doing, we'll have essentially clean energy, an infinite supply of energy, and it's relatively inexpensive to put into application. This is the new world that's coming, a world that's powered by scalar energy.
I love the nutrient therapy because so many people are compromised on a digestive level and not to mention the cost of nutrients these days, it's ridiculous. So you're paying through the nose for some riboflavin, for instance, and you get it into your system and you can't even assimilate it. So you've wasted time, you've wasted energy, you've wasted money, and you've had a lot of hopium that hasn't proven to be terribly effective. So this one to me is so exciting.
Yeah, to speak to that point, when I work with scalar energy once again, it's a form of light. Scalar Energy assembles nutrients inside each cell. So I say, first and foremost, the Scalar Energy nutrient program is the perfect delivery of nutrients.
Right.
I'm not dependent upon the circulatory system, the blood, to deliver the nutrient. I'm not dependent upon enzymes to break down or to create a metabolic process, if you will, to produce these nutrients. To the contrary, I assemble these nutrients inside each cell of the human body. So not only do I have the perfect delivery system by Scalar Energy, but I also can ensure that each cell of the body does indeed incorporate these nutrients, and I don't have to rely upon the circulatory system. So that's one of the benefits, once again, of Scalar Energy. That's part of my program for universal health care, to be able to deliver the necessary nutrients that we need for optimal health.
You also have a chakra balance, which I love, because that's working intrinsically with the scalar energy within our systems, the key energy, or the chi, depending on how you pronounce it, that runs through the chakra system. So to me, this looks like a perfect match.
To round off my standardized treatment, chakras are composed of scalar light. And when I subject the human body and the human psyche to scalar energy, it automatically reprograms those 7 chakras. So it's more or less a download or a reprogramming of our scalar energy force field. Now, the upshot of that is some people sleep better. It invariably makes many people happy and puts them in a state of euphoria. It seems to reverse depression for some people. It allows people to have a greater clarity of mind, or their judgment is enhanced. And it seems to also balance the endocrine system. In many ways, it seems to change our biorhythms to either balance our biorhythms or correct our biorhythms. So, again, this is the perfect energy, this divine energy. And when we use scalar energy in a chakra balancing capacity, once again, it's a download of this divine energy, and it has a profound effect on our spiritual state, on our mental, our cognitive state, even our emotional state.
Beautiful. Well, I think we've probably pitched this about as well as we can, and I don't want it to come across as, oh yeah, this is the latest, greatest, you got to try this, and then tomorrow we're doing something else, because your plans are long range. You have an intention to heal the world. I can't really think of anybody else who could make that statement and have it be viable, if that's a word. So I'm super grateful for this. I would like you to one more time give us your website, give us your the location where we send pictures, and then I will make sure that those go up to the YouTube video as well, so they have them in print.
Thanks, Tom. Again, we're offering free healthcare to the world. And visit the website www.creativestrength.us, creativestrength.us. You can upload your photograph, and we will provide you 15 days of free scalar energy treatments. By this process that I explained, we will be able to once again eradicate pathogens, assemble nutrients in your body, and then download the scalar energy chakra balancing. Those 3 modalities will be administered every day. That's our free healthcare plan for the world. And I ask you once again, creativestrength.us, please share that with friends and family. You can put that on Twitter, on Facebook, promote it in your blog or whatnot. I want to get this information out there. It's free. So please help me. I'm a researcher. I'm not a marketing agent. I need your help.
And that's the whole point here. This is I've been so excited by this that I just couldn't sit still and not let people know about it. So I'm so grateful to you for the years and years and years of research that we're all benefiting from for free.
And then my website is selfhealgo.com. Healgo.com. That's my website. I have 300, 400 articles that I've written about scalar energy if you want to know more about my work and my design to heal the world, you can visit that website.
Okay, is there anything you want to leave us with in parting?
I ask people to participate. This is a simple process. I've boiled this down. It's so simple. All I need is your photograph. All I need is your photograph. You don't have to change your lifestyle. You do not have to make any special provision. Visit creativestrength.us, upload your photograph, and we'll treat you for free. This is the beginning of the healing of the world. Please participate with us. creativestrength.us. Tell your friends. All we need, once again, is a photograph. Thank you for your participation. This should spread like wildfire. That's one of the predictions that the Blessed Mother gave me, by the way. She said the healing ministry would spread like wildfire. It's beginning to spread like wildfire. I thank you all. Shelley, I thank you.
Tom, let me give a PS here real fast. If somebody is in a position where they cannot disclose their face, as long as you get some of their skin in the picture, you can do this as well, correct?
That's right. When you submit a photograph, I don't need necessarily a bust shot of your face. You can send a photograph of your hand or your foot, and the age of the photograph does not matter. And if you're so inclined and you want to take a group photograph, as long as you have everybody's approval, take a group photograph of your entire family. Don't forget your dogs and your cats. I have a St. Bernard. I treat my St. Bernard every day with Scalar Energy, and he's very healthy. So it works with people, and it works with pets and livestock, for that matter.
Let me give you just a little bit of a testimonial on my end, because I did share my little dachshund picture with you. She has had a long-term skin parasite, which manifests in a lot of itching. It smells horrible. Apparently, dachshunds in all their purebred capacity have pretty weak skin conditions. And it's very interesting what I've noticed the last couple of days. I am noticing these little white flecks coming to the top of her fur rather than being embedded in the skin, which you have to dig to find. Now, that is a change in what I have seen with this infection before. And I have used various different approaches and never been totally successful. So I'm really going to let you know when this clears up, because it looks like that's what's happening already.
Sure it is. We're on the way. She's healing.
Fantastic. So thanks again, Tom. Let's stay in touch. If anything new comes along that you want to share, let me know. I'll make sure I get it out there. And we'll have this up to YouTube just as quick as humanly possible and get the word out.
Thank you so much, Shelley, for your opportunity. Thanks so much. God bless everybody.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you later.